So when they said, and the new, so throughout training camp, that was the saying, like, my trainer would egg me on, and the new world champion. And it just stuck in my head and I thought, I got this. I probably had about 5% chance winning that fight. Like I said, nobody believed I was gonna win that fight. But I studied him for a long, long time. Growing up, I watched this guy, Sam A. Big respect to him, he's the legend. And I was very confident. I shouldn't have been confident because I had 15 fights. And yeah, took it with both hands.
Nice push kick. So now Sam A starting to defend them. Nice little step-in elbow there from Jonathan Hagerty as he meets up the body.
Turn the tide on this pop.
Multi-time world champion.
You know, what was that like when you raised it in the air?
Unreal. I had my family there, my granddad, my friends. I came out to Singapore. For my granddad to be there, he's my #1 fan. And to win in front of him, to win in front of everyone really. The best thing was the gold confetti at the end when it just came down. I just thought, I had a broken nose as well. Broke my nose in the second round, I couldn't breathe. And my trainer was laughing at me in the corner, my dad was laughing at me in the corner, get on with it, I'm like, I can't breathe out my nose. So I just thought, I've got to get on with it now. And the best night of my life. So after that fight, like I said, I broke my nose, my feet were mangled, my elbows, I couldn't straighten them. I was feeling a lot of pain after the fight, but when I had the belt wrapped around me, like, it took the pain away. I got rushed into hospital on a hospital bed, and I was hurt, a lot hurt, and my trainer, I said, I had my belt on me, and then my trainer took it off. I said, no, I need that belt. Yeah, I feel pain-free when I've got that around me.
Blood, sweat and tears.
On that bed, with the belt at your feet, was it worth it?
100%. And you know what made it the better? They wheeled in my opponent on the other hospital bed. And we both, he doesn't speak English, obviously, he's from Thailand, Sam A. We both looked at each other and went, like that. And it was just, it was a war. It was a great fight. It was, I thought my trainer was lying to me, because I remember before I messaged one championship like a few years ago saying great show. I've still got the DM on my phone. Great show, I would love to be a part of it one day. Didn't get back to me, unfortunately. But then they realised, and then, so when I won the world title now, I went back onto our chat on One Championship, and I looked at that message saying I'd love to be a part of it. And that's when it comes surreal, like, I knew what I wanted and I achieved it. So I won the belt, and then I called out the best in the world, because I think if you're going to be the best, you've got to fight the best. People must have thought I was mad when I called out Robtang Jitmongnon, the most feared Thai boxer in the world, everyone would tell you. I called him out, big mistake, he took my belt. I want to be the best, so I got to beat the best. And to lose the belt against him the first time, it was a bit controversial. I thought I won. He won, obviously, and it was devastating. I was heartbroken. But I didn't let it get to me too much. They offered me the rematch. I turned it down. I said, I'm not ready yet. Turned it down. I trained for an extra 2-3 months, got my head right again. I said, yeah, I'm ready now. And then I had the rematch, and he defeated me by TKO in the second round. But my mind wasn't really there, you know, it wasn't really there. I don't know why, I can't explain, but I was devastated. But now on my way back, just got my first win back from off that loss against Taki Nato. 2 more wins, I'd say, and I'll get that belt back. So I'm Jonathan Hagerty, former 1 flyweight world champion, 3 times Muay Thai world champion. UK born and raised. I grew up in areas kind of rough around here, and all of my friends sort of went the wrong path, but I sort of kept on the straight and narrow, thanks to my parents, opening up a gym. But yeah, my dad was an MMA fighter originally, and that's what got me into it. He knows where he wants me to be, and he guided me the right path. And yeah, he's a role model to me. Yeah, he's a role model. Without him, I don't think anything could have happened. So I was about 7'6", so soon as really. I've never had a job. Growing up as a kid, it's always been fighting. I was just in the gym from a young age, so that was it really. I had no choice but to succeed in the fighting world. So as a junior, I didn't have much fights. In Thai boxing, juniors normally have loads of fights, like literally 100 fights, juniors. I had about 4, and then I got pushed into taking my shin guards off, get pushed straight into the swing of things, and then I started fighting men at a young age. And my dad wasn't very keen on it, but my trainer was he knew I could do it, so he pushed me. And then from then onwards, I started knocking them out. I sort of started getting real, started getting into the rankings with men when I was like 17, 18. I remember one time I had to lie about my age to fight a man. Nobody believed in me and thought, oh, I'm just still a kid. I think I still had braces on. And I got in there, he was #1 for 10 years. And I stopped him in round 2. And I think that's when everyone started to believe, like, this guy's the real deal. That was it. I just knew from then that's what I wanted to do. You just gotta believe in yourself, you know. And I grew up with everyone, but around me, my team around me, kept like pushing it into my ears. You're the one, like, you're gonna be the best. And from then onwards, I just thought I'm gonna go to the top. I had 14 fights. And then there was all the promotions were getting me to fight the best Thais in the world. And in my head, when they was offering me these fights, I was thinking, no, I don't want to fight. I had 14 fights, I was still basically a beginner. But then I took them, and I took risks, and I prospered. The night before, you can't sleep at all. You know, I woke up the next morning, one of these fights against one of the best Thais in the world. I woke up that morning to fight. I had no speech. I was so nervous, I couldn't speak. Like, I had no speech. And then as soon as you get into the arena, you're in the back room and you can smell the Thai oil. As soon as you smell that and you see other people warming up, you think, yeah, it's game on now. There's no going back. You want to run out, you can't. You just got to get on with it. So now you're stepping up to the stage to walk out to the fight, the crowd of like 1,000, 1,500 people. And it's very nerve-wracking. It's very nerve-wracking. As soon as you step over them ropes and you touch gloves, you've got no feeling in your body. They hit you, you can't feel it. You hit them, you can't feel it one thing. You can just about hear anything, apart from my coach, Christian Knowles. He's got the biggest mouth in the room. And that's all I hear. And then it's just go time from there. Killer instinct just kick in. When I think of fear, I think of my body shaking, adrenaline, and just block it out. Just block it out. Like I said, getting in that ring is very fear. It's a lot of fear. Getting past that. I need fear to fight. I fight better with fear. I deal with it after the fight. In the fight, if you're feeling pain, you can't show that you're hurt. Otherwise, they'll capitalise on that. You need to just get on with it. After the fight, you can cry all you want. A lot of things that you could be doing fun-wise, but you need to have your priorities straight and be where you want to be. Muay Thai is the art, we call it the art of 8 limbs. You've got your feet, your knees, your elbows, your punches, everything really. It's beautiful, good sport. It's a respectful sport as well. You know, there's that respect behind it, tradition. It's 5 rounds toe to toe, elbows. You know, you have to be aware all the time. You can't just sit in the pocket because one elbow just slip through. It's a game changer. Every time you step in that ring, there's not a possibility you could step back out and putting your life on the line. I'm fighting the best in the world. I'm fighting people with 300 fights. It's no joke, so you need to be fully prepared. I've had 3 losses. I've learned more than them on them 3 losses than I have any of the wins, you know. So I lost one, came back stronger, I won. I lost another one, got signed to 1 championship. So it opened up doors for me. Made me realise as well, like, I am beatable, and I'm coming up against the best in the world now. Yeah, you know, sometimes there's setbacks, minor setbacks, major comebacks. That's one of my sayings. So if anything's going wrong, it's hard to say don't worry about it, but things will get right, fit into place. Just keep going strong. I'm hitting to hurt. I want to take you out every shot. I want to take you out. I want to hurt you severely. It's as evil as it sounds, but that's the reality of it. But after the fight, we can be friends, whatever. But when we're in that ring, it doesn't matter who it is. It's game time. I turned everything down. I missed out on sort of party in life. Sacrifices, I stopped everything to get to where I wanted to be. And it paid off. You know, you do need to sacrifice. You can't do partying or whatever. You need to be level-headed on one goal. This is basically my life, man. This is basically my life.
What does it mean to get that belt back?
It means the world, mate, to be fair. I need to get that belt back before I move on, type of stuff.
One championship is the pioneer of martial arts, so it's the belt everyone wants to have. He's the only UK Thai boxer to get that title and have that title.
You're not going to rest easy until it's done?
Nah, no way. I think two more knockouts, and then hopefully be back on track getting the belt back. The 1 championship belt.
Would you say that's an obsession?
Obsession, obsessed. I think that's the belt. That is obviously the belt that everybody wants, and I've had and I've lost. So I want it more than anything now. Again, I'm a fighter, and that is the pinnacle of Muay Thai. So why not be obsessed to getting that belt? I don't think there's nothing wrong with it. I think the whole company, 1 championship, everybody wants to be on that. You know, everybody's screaming, I want to be on 1 championship. And at such a young age that I got on it, on that big stage, that motivated me the most. You know, people look up to me, young kids now. I train a group of young kids. I've got a few world champions, 14-year-olds. They look up to me, I'm their role model. So that pushes me on more, you know, for them to see what I can do, and so they can achieve that as well. Just keep going, just keep aiming for it, you know, keep digging away at it. You foul, you get back, do what you do best. And if you want it as much as you say you want it, you'll get it. You know, I want this belt as much as I want it, and I'll do everything I can to go and get that belt back. If it means getting up at 5 in the morning, 12K runs, it's got to be done. I don't believe in failure. It's lessons learned in it, really. And you foul, it's a learning curve. It's another opportunity to get back and win. Just think tomorrow will be better. Tomorrow will be better, and I'll have that 1 championship belt in no time. Got a few steps to climb. I'm on my way. I'm on my way there, and I'll get there. I'll sign an MMA contract with ONE, 2022. I would also do Muay Thai, and I'll be the Muay Thai world champion and the MMA 1 championship world champion.
Within 5 years, you think?
Before that.
Really?
Yeah, 2 years. Now, I want to be walking in places and everyone's like, that's that guy, that's Jonathan. Do you know what I mean? That's what I want, that's what I'm working for, you know, to be the best. Next fight is 20th of November in Ireland. ISK world title against Arthur Meyer.
How do you see that going?
KO round 2.
Losers have excuses. Is it worth it? Is it worth all the hard work? A strong mindset will take you as far as you want to go in life. 27th of March 2010, I'll never forget it. So I used to think about, my dad's birthday, I can't lose here, it's going to be there, everyone's going to be there, I need to put on a clinic, because at that time everyone was saying, oh, the best fight in the UK, but then obviously he'd stopped me, so everyone was like, oh, maybe Liam isn't that good, maybe he's just been found out here. So then I was thinking, have I just been found out? Well, I'll show these who's been found out. So I was like fighting against myself, my own demons, I had to stay mentally strong to show that I was more than that. And then in the first fight, I sat down after round 1 and my leg was in agony, and by the end of round 5 of him still kicking my fight in the rematch, I couldn't feel a thing still, but my mindset was so mentally strong then. I think he could have hit me with an iron bar in that fight and I wouldn't have felt it. After the fight, the ambulance had to come and take me to hospital because I passed out in the after party and I got took to hospital. I had to stay in overnight. I had a really bad concussion, and that was with how hard he hit me in round 4, but I was in such a mental focus that it didn't even have any effect till after the fight. If you want to be the best at it, you've got to be obsessed by it, you've got to give your life it, you've got to live it, you've got to breathe it. We're willing to go that extra mile just where certain people aren't willing to go. Anyone can come in a gym and kick the pads and spar and do this, but when they're tired, it depends, are they willing to do another round? Are they going to get back on the pads afterwards? When you can't breathe anymore, you've been hurt to the body in the middle of like round 10 of sparring and a fresh opponent comes in, are they going to get out or are you going to stay in and you're going to keep going? So obsession is massively important in anything, not just fighting, just in any walk of life where you want to be successful. I just used to get in there because I used to love it. I used to walk around school and playground just daydreaming about when my next fight where I'll be sat in class not paying any attention whatsoever. All I could think about was getting out and going to the gym. And eventually I started on the dinner hour running from my school up to the gym, doing some quick pads with Richard and then running back to school. And that was like on my dinner hour and stuff like that. So I was obsessed by the sport and I was obsessed with fighting. When I walked through this door, I did not want to just fight to like turn up to fights and make up the numbers or anything like that. I wanted to be a champion and that was that. And I'd always stay behind afterwards, and after the class I'd go on the bag upstairs on my own. I used to use my digicam, my dad's recorder and stuff, and just film myself to make sure I thought my stance were okay and stuff like that. And that's like, I think, sort of mentality that takes you from being just a fighter to a champion. I had my first fight at 14.
Is that legal to 14?
Yeah, no one ever questioned it because I looked quite old for my age, and so I got away with it. But I ended up like fighting men. So I was like 14 fighting men. I think when I was 15, I fought a 28-year-old, I think he was. I knocked him out. Did never ever used to cross my mind that I was fighting a fully grown man at all. It was just like, this is the fight, and I just loved it. It was after my 30th fight. I went 29 fights unbeaten, and my 30th fight I fought a Thai champion. And he was like elite level, top level. I never fought anyone that good. I was 18, and in round 2 I knocked this guy down with a left hook, and I just thought, oh, he's just same as every other fighter, I'll finish him off now, and that's that. I went in to finish him off, he survived the round, and then he got up, and in round 3, 4 and 5 he destroyed me. And I mean, he just wiped the floor with me. I remember when I dropped him with the left hook, his eyes rolled into his head, and then he came back up and he started smiling at me, and he didn't have a gum shield in, and he had blood all over his teeth. And I thought, this guy's crazy. And he absolutely destroyed me, battered me. And I remember after the fight, I was thinking, right, if I want to fight these guys, I need to be able to know how they fight as well as how I fight. And if I can mix both the styles together, I just said, I was seeing a girl for the time as well. I've been seeing her for 3 years. I just went home and went, sorry, it's over, I'm off to live in Thailand. And that was it. She was devastated, and I said to my mum, Mum, I'm off. I went on the 15th of December, before Christmas, so everyone was mad at me for ruining Christmas, but I said I can't have this in my head over Christmas, because my head is going to go. I need to like go out there and just make sure that, and see if I can live at that level. I don't want to be like the nearly guy. I said I want to get that level, and I want to be the one that is getting in the ring knowing I'm going to win at that level. I don't want to be fighting these guys thinking, oh, am I good enough or not? I want to get in there and know. So I just went out to Thailand, and I learned to fight their way, and I probably had about 15 fights there over the space of 2 years. So I was fighting really regular, and I had some of the best experience in my life, and some of the worst. getting out of your comfort zone is massively important. And again, that comes down to the same thing as obsession. I think you can't just be comfortable in what you're doing, you need to be out of your comfort zone. Like in training, you need to be in 6 to 8 weeks out of your comfort zone. Otherwise, when you fight, it's going to be healthier. I said before, I didn't want to be like a big fish in a small pond. I wanted to go over there, and I went to a gym called Jitty Gym, and it had a lot of Thai champions in at the time and top level guys. So I wanted to live like they did. I wanted to train how they did. And for the first like 3-4 weeks until I got used to it, it were hell. I was living on a mattress on the floor. They had me fighting every 3-4 weeks. But yeah, it got tough at some points because I was out there fighting for money as well. I was only 18 when I went. I'd not had too much money saved up. If my body's a bit banged up and I'm injured, it didn't matter, I had to fight. So that's what I did. I just used to fight as often as I could, as regular as I could. There's a big gambling culture in Thailand, so if I had a big fight out there, they were probably going to get some money gambled on it. They're going to be betting. So if they thought I wanted in as top shape as possible, then they wouldn't whip me into shape. And I mean, like, they'd have me up at 6 running, and I'd be the last one out the gym at 6 p.m. at night, and they'd make sure that I were on point. Like I say, I was there for money, and I said, right, I'm going to just bet on myself. So if I didn't win, I had no money. So I had to win. I had to win. But at one time, I bet on myself, and the whole gym bet on me, and I lost. And I'd bet all my rent money on myself and everything, and I lost the fight. And then 3 days later, I banged up badly, and he said, look, you ain't got no money, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to have to fight again. So 3 days later, I got flown down to Phuket, one of the islands, and I had to fight again for my rent money. And I won that fight by knockout in round 3, and I paid my rent for 2 months then. But yeah, to fight 3 days after having a really hard fight, I lost on points, and then to go down there and have to do it again 3 days later was not nice. My fears at the time were thinking I wasn't as good as I thought I was. So that's why I wanted to go put myself right. I had to face my fears. I had to go to Thailand and train with these guys and fight them in Thailand because I thought maybe I'm not as good as I think. I thought there's only one way to find out. And go over there and then I just have to fight with them every time. I have to train with them every day. And by doing that, that brought me up to the next level. These guys over in Thailand, they've all been doing it since 6 years old. It's second nature to them, so I'm trying to catch them up. So if I've got, that means staying late while everyone else is eating dinner, that's what I'm willing to do. So I went out there and I faced my fears, but look where it's got me now. It was like the end goal of all that was always more important than any fear that I ever felt. You can sit around and wait for stuff to happen, or you can get out there and make things happen, and that is massively important in any walk of life. It don't matter who you are or what you do, you've got to get after it, you've got to chase it, you've got to make it happen yourself, because no one's going to get gifted to you. You're going to have to work for it, and those people who are working and those people who are just grinding and they are going the extra hour, doing the extra mile, they're the ones that are going to be at the top. Losers always have an excuse. Everyone feels pain. There's no like person out there who's a Terminator. Everyone does. It's just how you deal with the pain. That's what makes the difference. A strong mindset will take you as far as you want to go in life. A strong mindset and willing to go that extra mile, and obsession, that's a good one that comes with success. Being obsessed with whatever you're doing will bring you success. Everyone who wants success, they have to do the hard work. Some people try and find a shortcut, but you should never want to try and find a shortcut. Hard work should always be like the main thing, and you should enjoy how hard you've got to work as well to get there, because it just makes it that much sweeter in the end. I believe your mind's your strongest weapon, and your mind will give up before your body long ever does. You just need to tell yourself it won't. Like David Goggins and people like, look what they do with their body, and it's their mind that's making them do it. But it all comes down to, is the juice worth the squeeze, and is it worth putting everything else back in? Or are you just going to quit and just let that be like that? Obviously, as I got older and my friends are going out and stuff, I've had to miss a lot of things like parties and nights out and stuff like that, but I wouldn't change it for the world, you know. You can go out on the piss anytime, but like for the life I've led and the experiences I've had and stuff like that, I would not change a thing. I have sacrificed a lot and I've probably missed out on a lot, but I've gained a lot more. Is it worth it? Is the end goal worth all the hard work that you're putting through? Is it worth dragging yourself out of bed when your body's in pain? Is it worth getting in there and sparring with some guy who's probably a lot better than you, but you're trying to better yourself? Is it worth round 5 when you're exhausted and there's 30 seconds left and the fight's even? Is it worth pushing yourself that little bit extra? Is it worth running an extra mile? Is it worth getting up at 6 in the morning doing hill sprints? Is it worth it? And the answer will always be, for me, yes.
Thanks for watching, guys. The full interview is now live, and you can also see the behind the scenes of how this was made. If you want to support projects like this in the future, please consider becoming one of our YouTube members. As always, have a blessed and productive day.
My name's Frampton. I am a professional boxer. It doesn't come without hard work and dedication. You have to focus on things. You have to fight through adversity at times. And if you want something hard enough, you can achieve it. I know I can become a 3-weight world champion. Went on to do more than I ever could have imagined at the very start, but I still know there's more, and that's the reason why I'm still hanging around this game.
Will Frampton move back towards his dream?
My name's Frampton. I am a professional boxer from Belfast. The real reason I went to boxing and joined the club was curiosity. I knew the local amateur club was a 2-minute walk from my house, and I wanted to see what it was like, and I didn't know what it was going to be like when I get down there. But the very first night I went to the club, there was me and a group of friends came down, and I was told to kind of sit and watch. I wasn't allowed to train the first night. I was 7 years old, so pretty young. And when I was 7, I probably looked like I was 5. So the coaches were kind of a bit like, maybe a bit too young to come down. I went down and I came back the next night and they allowed me to train, and that was it. I was hooked. I stayed there. I stayed there from 7 years old, and I'm currently still a boxer. I grew up in a loyalist area, so loyal to the Queen and Britain. The next neighbourhood along beside us was the New Lodge, which was a Republican area, which wanted nothing to do with loyalism, unionism, wanted Ireland to be an all-Ireland, and wanted Britain out completely, wanted soldiers out. So I grew up right on that interface, like 1 street away from it. Rough area, working class area. I also grew up in Tigers Bay when it was the time at the back end of the Troubles. I seen the aftermath of a kid blowing himself up with a pipe bomb. I saw buses being hijacked, parked across my street and set on fire. I seen people shooting at cops and army with guns. I seen people shooting at Republicans and nationalists with guns. I seen petrol bombs. I seen things you shouldn't see as a kid. Sometimes, being from Tigers Bay, you would have had to drive through the New Lodge, the Republican area, to get into Belfast city centre. Sometimes we'd get a taxi in, as we didn't have a car growing up. And I used to always have this fear that if this taxi breaks down, we are fucked, like we are going to be killed. It was a stupid thing to think, but that's what I thought. And it was my mentality and my mindset at that time was, I'm from Tigers Bay, I'm a loyalist, everybody in the New Lodge hates me, and if something happens and I get into the New Lodge in a compromised position, I'm dead. It's stupid. It's a stupid mindset, but that's what I thought of growing up as a kid. For me, that was life, and that was just something that I get on with, and it didn't seem alien or unnatural for me. I wouldn't like my kids to live in that now, but that was just my life. That's what I knew.
From Frampton. Years gone by, he really has been an elite fighter. Remember when he beat Kiko Martinez in 2014 to become the IBF champion?
I knew it was good by the time I hit about 11. Like I knew it was a decent fighter. I used to be called, like, a lot of people who didn't even know my name in Tigers Bay, they'd see me walking from my house to the boxing club and people would say there's the boxer. They would know me as the boxer. So I always had that kind of image, and You know, you can imagine me walking down as a 7 to 11-year-old with a little rucksack, 3 nights a week, sometimes more, to the boxing club, rain, hail or snow, and people just got used to seeing me. Everyone in Tigers Bay at some point, my age group anyway, would have been in the boxing club trained. Some of them would have stuck it out for a couple of years, maybe a few weeks, a few days, but I was the one that stuck it out. It was a real turning point in my career when I was maybe about 21. I was still an amateur at the time, but I'd lost to a guy called Kevin Fantasy in the Irish Championships. And to be honest, Kevin was not a bad fighter, but what I wanted to do, at that stage I knew it was going to be my career and I wanted to be a professional boxer. And I shouldn't have been losing to people like Kevin Fantasy. Anyway, he beat me fair and square. I went home, I was with, well, she was my girlfriend at the time, but now my wife, Christine. And I just had a talk to her and I said, look, I'm going to pack it in. What's the point of doing this if I can't beat guys like him? She kind of had a word with me and said, look, stick it out. She understood that I wasn't training how I should have been, and I was maybe putting 2 weeks of hard training in before a fight, which isn't enough. And I stuck it out, drew Kevin Fantasy the next year in the quarterfinals of the Irish Championships, training properly as an amateur but like a professional, and I stopped him, his corner through the towel in. And that was a real turning point for me. I knew, like, if I put the effort in, I can do this and I can go very far. I always think about what would have happened if I hadn't have continued on, if I hadn't have had that talk with my wife, if I hadn't have rationally tried to think about why I lost to Kevin Fantasy, because I was very, very close to jacking it. I was very, very close. I was thinking about joining the army, actually. My whole life was boxing at that point. I hadn't done anything, I hadn't worked another job, I was focused on boxing, but I was losing to this guy. I was thinking, what am I going to do now? I ended up sticking it out for another year, and that year I beat Fantasy, I beat Tyrone McKenna, and I beat one of Ireland's greatest ever amateurs, David Oliver Joyce.
Frampton knows that he is the new 47 kilos featherweight national champion of Ireland. He's defeated David Oliver
in the final of the All-Irelands, and that was the point where I knew. But very few people get that lucky, that it doesn't come without hard work and dedication. You have to focus on things. You have to fight through adversity at times.
Great domestic showdown. The IBF featherweight world title. Is Warrington going to retain, or will Carl Frampton move back towards his dream?
Josh Warrington. First 3 rounds were the worst 3 rounds I've ever had in my career. I done well to survive them. I done well to stay on my feet. But at that point, I got beat up in that fight, and beat up pretty bad. In my head, the whole way through that fight, I was thinking, don't get stopped, fight back here, don't let the referee try and jump in. I didn't want to get stopped, I wanted to see the final bell. I didn't really believe that I could win that fight after about the halfway point, but I wanted to stay in there and fight back and show that I've got balls, really. I'm not just someone who's going to fall and quit and pack it in. In the first round, there was an exchange of punches, and I think, accidental obviously, but I think his knee has bashed mine. I had pretty severe bruising, kind of that covered the length of my quad, and my leg was hurting. It was hurting me. I didn't want to tell the corner, so I made a decision walking back to the corner. I can't tell Jimmy Moore that my leg's sore, because he'll think it's an excuse for me. He's looking for him to pull me out. So I made sure that a conscious decision, don't mention your leg. The leg was bad. It was that bad that afterwards, when I went to the hospital, and obviously I had severe bruising about my head, I was standing at the reception and my leg kind of caved in, and people thought, they kind of rushed around me, they thought it was something to do with my head, but it wasn't. It was just my leg was sore. I think that failure at times and defeats can be a good thing, because you can learn and you can improve from them. I'm always focused on the opponent. I'm focused on the fight. I was out running last night, and I decided last night I wasn't going to listen to music, because when I don't listen to music, I can think about the opponent that I've got to fight next, Jamel Herring. So I'm going through in my head shots that I think are going to work. I'm playing out how I think I'm going to get rid of this guy. I'm playing out different scenarios in the fight. I don't know if everybody does stuff like that, but that's something that I do, and it helps me cope with everything that comes with being under pressure in these situations. I've done it a few times, so it's not just for this next fight. I've done it for previous fights. I'm thinking about not only Jamel Herring, I'm thinking about walking to the ring. I'm thinking about different shots that I think are going to work against him. I'm thinking about shots that I think he's going to throw and things that he's going to try on me, and what I'm going to do to counteract that. So it's a real, your mind is a crazy thing. Like, all these mad things creep into your mind all the time, but it's about keeping that one-track mind, single-minded and focused on the objective. But I'm doing it now for Jamel Herring. I've done it previously for other opponents. I've done it for issues in my personal life that maybe aren't going well. Your mind's a very strong tool, and I think if you're strong-minded and you have a strong will and determination, you can do so much in life. It takes commitment, it takes hard work and drive and determination and sacrifices and everything else, but I think there has to be an element of luck in your career, and things have to fall into place at the right time. And I suppose the more you train and the harder you work, the luckier you get sometimes, but things all have to fall into place at the right time. And they have for me, and I've done a lot in my career. I've been very proud of the things that I've done in my career, but I still believe there's more to give. And that's why I'm in it. I contemplated retiring after the Josh Warrington defeat. At that point, I'd done more than most people could ever dream of as a boxer, a two-weight world champion, unified, Ring Magazine Fight of the Year. But I didn't want to go out on a loss like that. I knew there was more to come. I knew I could still become a world champion, and that's the reason why I'm still hanging around this game. People have doubts. You know, everyone has doubts, and doubts creep in at certain times, but it's about what you do with that doubt, and you try to deal with it rationally. You try to think about it, and when I visualize things, when the doubts start creeping in, I try to get back to thinking of the positive things. How can you do something if you can't actually visualize doing it in your head? How can you throw a certain combination if you can't actually visualize that happening in a fight scenario? And these are just things that I've done and picked up over the years, and I continue to do it, and I will continue to do it for as long as I'm a boxer. Obviously, as a boxer, I go into training camps. I spend so much time away from my family. I've missed a large portion of my two kids growing up. I've missed a large portion of their lives because I've been away, and that's something that hurts me, and it's something that I feel strongly about. But these sacrifices, and that sacrifice in particular, it's something that I do to better their life. It's not just for me, it's for us all, it's for my family, and I do that because I would like to have a comfortable life. I would like my kids to have a comfortable life. I would like their kids to have a comfortable life. And these sacrifices that I'm making now go away, potentially making that happen. So, you know, I've missed things that have hurt me, and I shouldn't have done it as well. I realised I should have been at home at times where my wife had family members who passed away, and I wasn't at home for their funerals because I was training. And that's the selfishness of boxing. Realising that now, I understand that there's a fine line. I should have been home, and it's something that hurts me to this day that I wasn't home to be with her for these moments in her life. But that was the selfishness of it, and that was, you hear sportsmen talking about being selfish all the time to get to the very top. My whole attitude has changed a wee bit, and my whole outlook has changed a bit. At that time, I was extremely selfish. I don't think I needed to be that selfish. Obviously, top sportsmen need to be selfish to get to the top, but there's a line, and I crossed that line. And it's something, I've apologized to my wife many times about this. It's something that still plays on my mind, but things like that I've done. I've done it for whatever reason. There's moments that happen in people's career that as defeats or failures, whatever you want to call it, if you learn from them and improve, then it'll still be classed as a defeat, but it's not really a failure then if you're learning and improving from them situations. These are massive moments in people's careers that either define them or break them.
And across the ring in the blue corner, wearing the navy blue shorts with white trim, from Belfast, Northern Ireland, Carl, the Jackal.
My last fight, I fought a guy called Darren Traynor, who I was expected to beat. But the real goal was Jamel Herring, because this was a fight to get me ready for Jamel Herring. So people say, is it important not to look past Darren Traynor and focus completely on Jamel Herring? It is important to focus on Darren Traynor for that specific fight, but it's always important as well to have your eyes to the future for the end goal, which is Jamel Herring. So you need to have short-term goals, but you need to have a long-term goal as well. My long-term goal was always to become a world champion. Things change as well as your career develops and progresses. So when I became a world champion against Kiko Martinez, my next goal was to defend it. My next goal was to become a unified champion, which I done and I succeeded. My next goal after that was to become a two-weight world champion, succeeded in that. And my next goal is now to become a three-weight world champion. People say you either have it or you don't have it, but I didn't have it for a while when I was messing about and losing to people like Kevin Fantasy that I've spoken about. But then I got it, and I got it back. I think I've always had it, but then I just realised that I did have it and I got it back. It's a state of mind really, and if you want something hard enough, you can achieve it. The weather is getting pretty shit at the minute, and there's times where at night time it's getting dark early. I don't want to go out running. I don't want to be running the streets. I don't want to be doing sprints up hills, but I do it because I've got this drive. That's probably the main thing for me, is drive and determination and wanting to be better than the next man. If we were a table tennis table down there now, like if we got that out now, like I'd want to smash you, even though I'm not a professional table tennis player. But that's just me, that's just my head. I want to win at everything. I'm a pretty skillful fighter, but that didn't come naturally. It was graft that got me to be where I am. There's so many more naturally talented fighters than me in Belfast when I was a kid growing up. So many more. But I just had something different that they didn't have. I had a different mentality, a different mindset, and I pushed on and strived for more. And that's the only difference. If these kids with the talent had the mentality of me, they'd be unbelievable fighters, but they didn't. Boxing is full of people who could have been. I wanted more. I had a different mentality. I've had so much pain in my career. I won a fight 2 fights ago with 2 broken hands. Pain is something that is in your head, and your mind will always give up before your body will. And pain is just something you have to deal with. Everybody deals with pain. And people have excuses all the time. It's about whether you say them. It's about whether you give that excuse. I've talked about the injury to my leg with Josh Warrington since the fight, but I left it a long time. I didn't say it after the fight. I didn't say it weeks after the fight. I left it for a long time because he won that fight fair and square. Things that you want in life won't come easy. Very few things do. So having the mindset to know that there's going to be ups and downs and bumps along the way, you're going to have to get through them to succeed, and that happens in not just boxing but everyday life. I think you can always improve if you feel like you are the perfect fighter, if you feel like you throw a combination the perfect way, then you'll think that there's no room for improvement. There's always room for improvement, and that's what makes a fighter a better fighter. Taking risks in boxing, there's very few do it, and I think that the people that do it, I've taken risks in my career and other people have done that as well. People respect that, and it's about taking the right risks at the right time. Everyone has their own worries, everyone has their own hardship, but things will always get better. And these things may seem like a worry now, and they certainly are a worry, but in 2, 3, 4, 5 years' time, in a decade's time, they may be something that you look back on and think that was the part and that was the moment that actually made me the success that I am. So I do worry about people, but things will always get better. I want to be known as a great, and look, I'm already. If you'd have granted me a wish at the start of my professional career and said you're going to win a world title, but you're going to lose it in your first defence, I think I'd have taken that at the very start of my professional career. So I've went on to do more than I ever could have imagined at the very start, but I still know there's more. 2-weight world champion. I know I can become a 3-weight world champion. My next fight is against Jamel Herring for the chance to become a 3-weight world champion. One of the only British fighters to ever have done it. The only Irish fighter to have ever done it. I think that if you look at the Brits that have done it before, I probably rank as number 2 in terms of who has become 3-weight world champions. It's a chance for me to potentially put myself into the Hall of Fame, and that's why I'm doing it. I know my kids are proud of me and they will be proud of me when they grow up, but I imagine what it would be like. You know, I'm very proud of my dad. Me and my dad are best mates, and I love him dearly, but imagine my dad had been a 3-weight world champion. How proud I would have been in that. So a lot of the reason is for my kids. I want them to talk about me. I want the people of Belfast and the people of Northern Ireland to remember me fondly. And this is part of the reasons why I do it. I don't want to be, you know, a flash in the pan type where people stop or forget about me after a couple of years. I want to go to pubs in 30 years' time in Belfast and someone buy me a pint and say, I was at that fight, I remember that fight in New York you had with Leo Santa Cruz, or I was there when you beat Jamel Herring to become a 3-weight world champion. I want people to remember me like that. That's what I'm aiming for, that's what I'm striving for, and I'm very, very, very proud of the support I get. Never imagined that I would have had the support that I have at this point, but I just want to keep pushing. I want to do it for them, I want to do it for myself, I want to do it for my family. There's so many motivational factors for me, and that's why I'm doing it.
That day they want to kill me. You know, you feel it. You know it's time. You have no choice, because you have to tell yourself that time you are not a human being. You are the animal. They want to kill you. You have to take everything you can do it and try to beat them. They follow me. They know where I'm going. They track me, knife, bottle everywhere. So they got maybe 15 people. I'm one. In 5 minutes, everything happened. You know, just because I'm the fighter, I know people follow me. So in my heart, I prepare myself.
Do you think that your kung fu practices and your discipline saved you that night? Like, do you think you would have been like?
Yeah, I think of course my kung fu and the discipline, also my character, tough. You know, you have no choice. You tell yourself you have no choice. No choice mean you have to give everything you can, because you have no choice. Only you give everything you can, the result you don't care anymore, because it's all you have. I always tell myself, anything happen, have reason, you know. That day don't make sense. One day will make sense. For me, that makes sense for me is because, you know, life, you have problem, you know. You can't always, that didn't kill my confidence. It just happened. When you have problems, if you can fight, you fight. You know, if you can't fight, you run away. You have no choice, you have to fight as hard as you can. I like fighting because how to look like a dream, you know. You think you are good. When you go do it, not true. Yeah, you look at that person, not good. But when you're fighting with him, you can't beat him. Yeah, to make you more humble, make you don't judge people easily. You learn from your mistake. When you watch it, then you know what mistake you make. Then end of the day, doesn't matter who teach you, end of the day is you teach yourself because you learn from your mistake. Nobody can teach you. This reason I like fighting. Even though I'm 50 years old, I still watch the people fighting, you know. Then I try to learn, I try to find the mistake, you know. It's good, I like, because it's giving something, for me, martial arts, the soul, you can become good fighter, yeah. I like because it's real.
1、2、3、1、2、3、
My name is Yan Lei, so I come from China. When I was 14, so I go into Shaolin Temple, study martial arts. Then 2000, I come to UK, so now I live in UK for 20 years. So I grew up in Xinjiang, so I grew up in the village. My family is quite poor. I got 3 brothers and 3 sisters, so I'm the youngest one, I'm number 7. So, you know, that time I born 1970s, so that time everywhere is poor. So this means, I live in the village even more poor. You know, when you're poor, you will have trouble. My family is stolen because we're poor. So also because I'm the youngest one, so when I grew up, I always have problems because people always give me trouble. So make me quite angry person because they just bully me or beat me. So just make me always want fight back, but I'm small, so it's difficult for me. Basically, I grew up very tough place. Also, it's good for me, make my character very tough. So when I want to get something, I have to fight to get it. It's make my character even stronger. In China, usually you went to school is 7, but I went to school is 5. I leave the village because nobody look after me, so I went to school earlier. So people will, when you're weak, people will choose you because they got confidence. Experience for me, more you make yourself stronger or push yourself. Even you're scared, you tell yourself you have to do it. Then more you do it, more people don't give you trouble. Even you are the youngest one in the class because they know you're correct. People beat me up, I want to learn Kung Fu. This is not the reason. Before you in the village, seriously, you only want get enough food to eat, not be hungry. You don't have a dream, you don't know what you picture. You know, you have no ideas. Every day you just want to have enough to eat, you know, have safe life. When you're poor, in China, you don't have much choice. Or studying really hard, going to university, or enjoying the army, or do martial arts. You only have 3 choices. For me, that moment, I only think I got these 3 choices. Everyone different, yeah. For me, life, if you enjoy your life, if you're happy with life, it's fun. For me, it's different because I'm teaching
in West, I teach a lot of students. So for me, I want to be a good example. I want to open more door for them. I have a lot of students that become personal trainer. Someone becomes stuntman. Someone open a school because they see me. I did. And people always use age to excuse. Age also is one kind of excuse to stop themselves. Say, oh, I'm 50, I'm 60. What's wrong, you 60? What's wrong, you 50? Yeah, that doesn't matter. You know, if you think it matters, when you're 18, is problem. You say, oh, I'm 18, I cannot do gymnastics, I'm too old. You know, someone start from 5. You know, it's excuse. Your desire is not enough to conquer your excuse. Yeah, for me, discipline is not really strong words for me to describe my journey. Because reason is you have to, from your discipline, you stick with something, you keep going, in your blood, you won't dig it. For me, I won't dig it. I want to see how long I can go. I'm 50, yeah, I think I'm good. I'm 60, I want look, I'm 50. Yeah, I'm good. When I'm 70, I want look, I'm 50, same. I want to challenge, I want to give people example. When one day people say, oh, look, I started with Shifu Yanli. He's 70 now, look, he's still same. Yeah, I want to change people the way to make the excuse. You don't know if you're strong, if you set up your target, you focus your journey, that will bring longer happiness for you. Yeah, short happiness is very easy. You get drunk, you're happy, 5 minutes. Another day you say, fuck, I shouldn't do this because you don't like yourself. Then, trust me, 1 week later, you forgot. You repeat again. This means your life, you're circling. You never go anywhere. You just sit the same place. You didn't go. Same you go to gym, you use the bike. Yeah, you didn't go anywhere. You didn't go anywhere because you're scared to change. You know, people say, I don't like my job. Hey, excuse you work for 20 years. If you don't like, why you do it? You're scared to change because you don't know if you change what's happened. So this reason, most time, you kill your dream. You kill your direction. You killed. It's not someone killed. You did. Life, sometimes no choice is the best choice because you have to do it. They give me strong discipline. So when I set up my target, doesn't matter how long it will take, I know this is my journey. I will get it, you know. When you go to temple, you study martial arts, then you start to understand a little bit life. Before you was angry, you want to fight with people, but when you learn fighting, you slowly, you don't want to fight anymore because you want to fight someone that can fight. You want to have equal fight. You don't want to go to the street to do this anymore because you know you can beat him because he don't know any martial arts.
To get success, do you have to sacrifice things like seeing your mum and dad?
No, because for me it's difficult because I'm living in the West. My parents in China. This situation makes things happen. You don't need to be like this, yeah. But when I'm 50, when you're older, I'm guaranteed, for me, okay, my friend will be less and less, not get more and more, because I know who is my real friend, who is not my real friend. And now I also know which meeting I need to go, which meeting I don't need to go. You got more time for me. Before, people say, I'm very busy, Shifu, I don't have time. You do got time. You got time to drinking. You got time on the phone. You know, now, especially for now, people, when you open your phone, since you lock some things, you will not stop. You will keep going. Then when you lock your watch, half an hour is gone, or 1 hour is gone. You know, what do you learn? Nothing. nothing on your body. Yeah, I'm not saying I'm better than everyone. I'm the same. Sometimes when I look at phone or look at fighting, I say this is good. I'm keep going. I realize I didn't learn anything. I just make me excited. When I watch the fighting, I writing down what technique I like. I turn my phone close. Then I'm trying the movement. I'm keep going after I in my word. Yeah. Everything on your body is belong to you. Everything not your body not belong to you. Same you buy the house, not belong to you. One day we will be someone else. You don't know who on that house anymore. But slowly you will not focus what you lose. You will focus what you have. You do something, you put 100% effort in. Then after you don't care the result anymore because it's your best. Same, you kick over again. You tell yourself, I did my best. It's all I can do. So you never think anymore. This reason when you got a skill, difficult to lose because you do the millions time. So someone can take it, someone cannot take it. They destroy your life because you can see the Western is the same. Some famous boxer, they stop fighting, their life change. Mike Tyson, change. I'm happy he changed back, now he become back. But a lot of people not seeing him, they lost their life. They destroy their life, their discipline go another way. They not drink alcohol, they stop training, they say, I need to drink alcohol. They finish, they kill themselves. Learning is my life. I always want to learning because only you learning, you make you brain fresh. Also make your skill will be better because you're hungry. If you feel full, that's it. Your life stop because you are the best. You don't need to learn. No one can say the best. So for me, I always think I'm the student. So I like to learn with different people. It's for me, life don't need to be that tough. But for me, because I said, it's because my background make me thinking that way. Yeah, everything, I need to prepare myself. Prepare didn't mean, for me, prepare is give everything you can to make yourself ready.
What's the biggest lesson you've learned in terms of becoming successful and how you define successful? Like, what's the biggest thing?
Successful for everyone have different meaning, you know. For me, successful is I got a dream. It's me, I got a dream. I didn't let it go. And I have direction. So every day I tell myself, you need to go. You need to get your dream. You need to get your target. So more I'm doing, next day I don't want to do it, I tell myself, you need to go. More you do, more you close. You know, same with traffic, you know. When every car stop, everyone worried, start worried. Since car moving, you will not worried. Even if moving very slow, you know you go somewhere. Yeah? So for me, life, most time we got trouble. It's not most time happy. You know, so when you have the problems, you have to try the way. If you can't deal, if you cannot change, you have to let it go. You have to focus something you have, not always focus something you don't have. You know, I want to reach my dream. It's for me, I got lots of things. I want to make documentary. I want to go, you know, to learn different martial arts. Also, at the moment, I set up my company, you know, Yanlei. I want people see my name, Yanlei. They know it's for health, for training, for conquer yourself.
Fear. We all suffer from fear.
Come on! Don't ever back up from me. No one can hurt me. Let's go. It's a fight game, man. It's me or him. Get to understand this game. Respect and friendship outside resumes after the bell goes. In here, baby's war.
Success, no goals achieved without sacrifice being made. You might have to sacrifice a TV program that you love watching. You might have to sacrifice time with friends that ain't the best time that you're used to spending. Sacrifice meals and food that you like to eat because it's not a part of the goal you're trying to achieve with your body that you want to have and the level of health that you need. There's sacrifice in every area of life. Make sacrifices. You will achieve your goals. Fear. We all suffer from fear. So I tell you how you deal with fear. Whatever you focus on becomes your reality. If you focus on your fear, fear will become your reality. If you focus on having a sound mind and love, that's what will become your reality.
Come on!
Don't focus on the fear. The fear is going to be in the room anyway. Focus on what's right and not what's wrong. Fear won't help. Everything else does. Make the necessary sacrifices that you have to make to bring about the success and the goals that you are trying to achieve. Sacrifice. Growth begins when you begin to embrace truth. There's no truth in excuses. If you focus on your fear, fear will become your reality. Because the manufacturer of human beings says, I have not given you a spirit of fear, but a sound mind and of love. The race is not for the swift, but for who can endure. We need time. Give yourself time. The truth about you. The truth about how you see yourself. That's the truth I'm speaking about. Be true to you. Don't take on anyone else's truth. What's your truth? Because truth will bring about change. If you focus on your fear, fear will become your reality. We all suffer from fear. There is no success without sacrifice. Do not stop. Get back up and carry on. If you focus on your fear, fear will become your reality. With being consistent, so you made steps forward. And every time you make steps forward, you get closer to your goals. If you focus on having a sound mind and love, that's what will become your reality. Do not stop. Get back up and carry on. Whatever you focus on becomes your reality. If you focus on your fear, fear will become your reality. The race is not for the swift, but for who can endure. For many years, I was totally lost. Had no purpose, had no vision, had no goals. Till I made a decision and decided what I wanted in life. I found my way because I realized that it was all down to me. It weren't the government, It weren't my treatment at home. It weren't my background. It weren't my culture. It weren't my religion. It's me. My destiny was in my hands. I found me. Find yourself.
Like, there's no excuses, never excuses. And just no matter what comes at you, just keep going, keep going. Just focus on what you want from life and just stick to that and you'll get there. Like, life will knock you down, but always get back up and carry on fighting, always.
What happened that night when you got shot? Is that something you're willing to discuss?
What happened? You want to know what happened? I come out of the baths and got shot. Not much more to it than that, but...
How did you deal with it the weeks after?
So I got shot, I think I was in hospital for 10 days or something. I come out of hospital. It's just a bit of a mad time, to be honest. Like, obviously I'm not going to go too deep into it, but it's a bit of a mad 6 months go after that, and then things start to calm down a bit.
Whereabouts did you get shot?
In the face.
Once?
Twice. It took like more of a negative path first, and obviously I was waking up angry, going to bed angry. I was angry all the time. Later on, after training and stuff like that, it kind of turned that into a positive and gave me more of a drive to do better. Like, where am I going to go from here, kind of thing. I didn't know what I was going to do, because I went through college. I studied and stuff. I come to get a job, coaching and stuff. I couldn't get a job because I had a few little cautions on my record. I couldn't get a job, and then from then it's like, what am I going to do now? So then I took that other path. So for me, it's just like, find something you're good at, find something you can earn something from, and just stick to that and work hard. It's more of a time thing. It's more of a time thing, and like, obviously who you surround yourself with, and obviously if you're in the wrong company while you're thinking about them things, then bad things can happen, and obviously it can go the other way. You can end up in jail, you can end up anywhere, you can end up dead. But I ended up getting into sport, luckily.
Here we go. No touch of glove, straight down to business here, Lerone Murphy.
Yeah, it's Laurel Murphy, fighting out of Manchester, MMA fighter, fighting in the UFC. I blew my knee out at 16, and that's when I stopped doing any sports for a few years. I never thought I'd do any kind of sport again, because my knee was weak for years, and then I started MMA, and I was always worried about my knee, but obviously I didn't think I'd get this far. I was just training for fun. Because I didn't know anybody that made it, like from my area, so it was just on TV, so to me it was like, it felt unrealistic. And then until I was around like professional people, then it become more doable. And if you want to do well, then it's all about the circle and the company you keep. You need people that are gonna motivate you. I just started training at first. Yeah, obviously I didn't want to be a professional. I just started training because I enjoyed watching it. I've been watching it for years. I started training, and then I started liking it. I had my first amateur fight. I loved that. Ended up going to have another amateur fight. That was an even better fight, and then I just started thinking, this is what I want to do. Later on, I think I fought for an amateur title after that fight, and then I had one more and turned professional, and I went to America actually. That was like the biggest turning point for me. I went to America in 2000 and either 2015, and I stayed with Dominic Cruz, and obviously he's the world champion. And then from then it was just like seeing his lifestyle, and then that's just what I wanted to be in it. I was amateur then, and I'm doing rounds with Dominic Cruz. Even Ross Pearson was there. I'm doing sparring rounds with them, and just from then I knew it was doable. His work rate showed me like the work rate you need to be at the top, and I've took that away from that trip, and I put the work in every day. I just knew where I needed to get to. For me, it's just like it's working hard in the areas you need to work at, and working smart as well, training smart. People think like just going hard every day, every session, doing 20k runs and all that, this is going to make you a better. It's not going to make you a better fighter. It's all about knowing your body as well, so knowing when to take time off, knowing when to take an easy session, and obviously having the right coaching people around you that are going to find the holes in your game and work the right drills to perfect them. I was in Jamaica with my family, all inclusive, eating heavy, come back massive. I think I must have been about 82 kg when I come back. And I think I trained for 2 days, and then I got a message off my coach on the Tuesday. All it said was, can he fight on this date, which was 4 weeks from the time. And obviously I didn't think it was for me at the first, and then when he told it was for me, it was just like it was just like a big shock. No, I had no other option. Like, you just never know in this game. Like that, you might knock that opportunity back, and it might never come around. I've seen it happen before, so you have to just take them opportunities, both hands, really. I only need 4 weeks to get ready for a fight, really, anyway. I didn't have no injuries at the time. For me, a professional fighter is supposed to stay on it all year round anyway. Still want no excuse. I was still fit. I still went the 3 rounds. Like, there's no excuses. Never excuses. You go to bed thinking about techniques and drills and just stuff like that. It's definitely an obsession. It's definitely an obsession. Even when you're like, it's just out and about, you're just like thinking, oh, I should be training, or when you're doing something you shouldn't be doing, you're thinking about fights and stuff like that. It's mad. It's like, it is an obsession, definitely. If you're working hard all the time, when the opportunities present themselves, you'll be ready for them. For me, if I stay training consistently, if a good opportunity comes, I'll be ready for that. When you start slacking off and stuff, you start to miss them opportunities, and that might be your only opportunity to reach your goal.
You got called up to the UFC, had your first fight. In the first round, you got dropped within the first minute, right?
That whole experience was just crazy. I was just ready to fight. I just knew I was just going there to fight. A lot of people just think, oh, it's my first UFC fight, just get a fight under your belt and you got your contract and that's it. But I was going there to win. I always go there to win. I'll never just make up the numbers. So when we got in there, obviously the weigh-ins were first, and all the crowd was like screaming for him. So I knew it would be a hostile territory. Like, I knew straight away it would be like, when the fight's on, everyone's going to be cheering for him. But I was ready for that. That like give me a different type of fire as well. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, as soon as I walked out, I just knew it was sick. Just thinking, I'm going to knock your guy out now. I threw a sloppy low kick. I was off balance, and then he come in with a left hook straight away. I wasn't like rocked, but it caught me nice. And when I was on, like, I knew where I was and stuff as soon as I hit the ground, and it's just like defend, get back to your feet. I've been dreaming about getting to the UFC for so long, yeah? You get into the UFC, you're in the cage, I'm like taking in the scenery while I'm fighting, like I wasn't in the fight, do you get what I'm saying? I'm like looking at the floor, looking at like the print around the ring and stuff, so I wasn't in the fight. So when he threw a few heavy shots towards me, missed, and I was just like, I started like messing about just to get comfortable, yeah? And then when he hit me, that's when it was like, all right, we're in a fight now. I woke up from that. You shouldn't take a big shot like that. That could have been game over, that could have been fight over. It shouldn't take a big shot like that to get in the fight. But when it's your first UFC fight, sometimes it does take something like that to get you into the fight. Some people don't get into the fight at all because they spend so long getting used to the crowd and the surroundings and stuff. I always knew I was going to get there. When I've been sparring like UFC fighters, I knew I had the ability to get there someday. I just needed, obviously, the right fights, the right path. At one point, I did have a few doubts because I couldn't get the right fights, and then I was gonna sign to another promotion, and luckily I just waited it out a bit. You just got to have an end goal in sight at all times, the end goal. So you're gonna have a lot of bad days in this sport. Bad fights are gonna come, like it's part of the sport. But as long as you keep that end goal in mind, you've always got something to aim for and a direction to go in. Even in that camp, my first UFC camp, I was injured and I was watching the tape on Zabero, and I was just like, can I really beat this guy? There's just highlight reels of him knocking this person out, knocking that person out, and then sometimes you just snap out of it. Obviously, you're always gonna have some sort of insecurities and wondering if you're good enough to even do it. But at other times, you're confident. Like it's just part of the fight camp. But on the day, I'm always confident. It's okay to have insecurities. Take every day as it comes, really. Don't think too far ahead into the future. Just take on the challenges as they come. If you want to achieve your goals, you have to step out of your comfort zone and challenge yourself.
Second fight in, how did you feel going into your second fight?
A lot better. Like I knew what to expect. I knew the level I was fighting at. So everything was better. I had a decent camp. Everything was better. Everything felt good. And I know what level I'm at. Obviously, I knew it was good. I knew it was gonna. I thought it was gonna be a tough fight. I knew that, but I've not been beat, so I'm always gonna just challenge in it. Like I'm always gonna see what level I'm really at. Like I had my first fight, I didn't win it. I didn't lose it, but I didn't win it. And going into my second fight, if you lose that fight, it's like you've had two fights and you've not won one in the UFC. So for me, I just wanted to get that win under my belt. And like now, there's no stress now. I'm just gonna go in and just do me and hopefully perform better. I want to be a champion. That's my goal. So I'm gonna take every necessary step to get there. If I don't get there, I don't get there. But I'm always gonna be trying to get there. Losing's a good thing. If you win all the time, how are you going to get better? I'm not scared of losing like I've lost in other situations in it. So, but losing's a good thing at the same time. Big risk equals big reward. Take risks and grow. Nothing fazing me. I've been through the worst of the worst. Nothing fazes me. Like there's nothing anybody can do to me that can be worse than that. Do you get what I'm saying? So we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. That's the mindset I have going into fights. Like nothing can really faze me. Like even if he was to lose, it's just a loss. Like what? Do you get what I'm saying? I'm not scared of anything. Like so, when we get in there, once the fight's on, the fight's on. Hearing the crowd, looking at all the prints on the stuff, it's like something I dreamed of for so long. So when I got in there, it was just like it was surreal. It's like it felt like I was in like sort of a movie kind of thing. play the UFC game actually, and obviously I'm champion and that, and I've designed my character and stuff, so that's kind of my visualization that one day I'll get there. The feelings, like, I don't think that's like the end goal either. I think that's just part of the journey. You obviously get to the belt, but you got to defend it. There's a lot of hungry lions after that, so it'll be a mad feeling to lift that belt though, because that is the dream. Obviously, talent comes into it, but at the same time, I've been putting in the shifts. Like, I've been training hard. Like from when I started, I've been training near enough every day, no time off. Even when I broke my hand, I was working around it. I just been putting in extra shifts. So a lot of them people that have been doing like 15 years, they're like half-hearted, like on and off. I've just been at it. Like, I've got one goal in mind. So nothing will really take my mind off that or get in the way of that. Be focused on what you want from life and just stick to that. Whatever hurdles you come past, just stick to that and you'll get there. Like, obviously you can set goals and not reach them, but that's just like, life's never always going to go that smooth, but it's important to have goals and work towards them. You might not reach them, but as long as you've got the goals, you're on the right path. Path's never always that smooth, and things might happen in your life where you can no longer pursue that goal, so you have to be able to divert any time. Definitely need hard work to get to the top of this sport because there's so many people doing it, but you do need a bit of luck. Definitely. No matter what comes at you, just keep going. Like, life will knock you down, but always get back up and carry on fighting, always. Pain is temporary. Pain is definitely temporary because I've been through a lot in my life, and it doesn't seem like it's gonna end, but there's always light at the end of the tunnel. I've actually got a tattoo on my chest there saying, for every dark night there's a brighter day, and I always live by that quote. Tough times don't last, really, and you're going to get through it and things are going to be okay in the end. I have come across a lot of speed bumps, even getting in the UFC. Like, my fight wasn't declared on until the day before because of medicals and stuff, and it's just like, it's crazy, like loads of things get thrown at you, but you just got to keep going. Set a target, maybe set small targets, not even the end goals, set short-term goals, and just try and meet them goals and stick to it and have the discipline. The discipline is the most important. People think you've made it because you get to the UFC, you haven't. That's when the work starts, you've got the hardest fights of your life. So for me, I'll know when I've made it, when I'm champion. That's when I've made it. Like, I'm not just doing it for myself. I've got a little boy, I've got a family that I obviously want to get in a better financial position, so it's not just about me. So for me, I wake up every day with a goal, and I'm going to reach that goal.